Cheerio! I'm not doing the bonjour thing. I'll do it at the end. I've decided, I don't care. When I have my own little show on the Megyn Kelly Network, I'm going to begin my episode with Cheerio. Okay, we're going to talk about mushrooms from down under. I can't do an accent. And I have a brother-in-law who is from Australia. And his brother lives here. And so I hear Australian accents all the time. And boy, do they have fun. Okay, Ms. Erin Patterson. That is her name. I actually did not find out how old she was. All this stuff. Hey Siri, how old is Erin Patterson?
Okay, I found this on the web for
how old? It's showing me an Erin with an AA. My guess, she's around 55 or so. Or maybe a little younger, 40. Well, now I want to know because I know she has 2 small children. I really should just begin my video again, shouldn't I? I did learn a lot of things about sanitary napkins while I was doing my research for this. So I hate it when people start their videos and just ramble, and I'm pretty much doing the exact same thing. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Okay, she's 50. Okay, well, I'm going to begin sort of talking about that. So there are people in this world who were hit with the ugly stick. Erin was hit with the whole tree. I mean, it may have been a forest. It's frightening. She has multiple chins. And I'm sorry if you have multiple chins. I just really don't know what to say. So I don't know how much you've seen about this story. It's really been in the news a lot lately because she was just convicted last week. Today's Sunday. So last week. She's going to get life in prison. She's able to receive life or life without parole. So it's just like here. If you get life, you're up for parole in 40 or 50 years or something. Some states, life is, well, one state it used to only be 12 years or something, and they've upped it. The maximum fine she can get is $3,000. So here's what happened. I started this, and then I found out new things, so I'm sort of all over the place, more all over the place than usual. She was trying to kill. Okay, so she had an estranged husband. They'd been estranged for many, many years. I'm not surprised. Now, he's no Prince Charming either. My husband is so good looking. If you know who that is, tell me. But they were getting along fine. No child support was exchanging hands. Ms. Patterson is quite wealthy. Her grandmother left her many dollars. 7 figures of dollars. And when these two got married, she didn't have those 7 figures yet. So he didn't marry her because of the money. It was love. However, shortly after they were married, the grandma died and she received the money. She lives just from overhead. This is not, it's all my speculation. She lives in a small town. But her land that they show when they put the drones up there, she's got a nice sized piece of land, trees all over the place. The house is kind of ugly, but it seems like a nice house. I don't know if she has a basement or not. But it's 2 stories, lots of little bay window areas and stuff. It's nice. The estranged husband, if I call him ex, I'm sorry, estranged husband, again, is living someplace else. So they're each filing their taxes, and estranged husband accidentally just writes single. Well, I mean, technically he's single. Legally he is not. So the government gets that. And what do? They go back to Erin and they say, Erin, you're not married, you're single. So now you owe us such and such dollars, which she wouldn't have owed. The thing is, estranged husband made a mistake. Let me get my water. It was an accident, obviously, but he made an error. So I'm not really sure why she didn't say to the government, okay, well, he's not single, so he's going to fix it. I'm not sure if there's laws or something that if you're I don't have any idea. But so that's why I don't realize why this was such an issue. But that's what ticked her off. Oh, my goodness, ticked her off. So I'm trying to think. Now, I've been married twice. I know, I'm sorry, Lord. I have the child with the first husband. I guess I've been married. And I still have a relationship with Grandma, my first husband's mother. I mean, I'm not talking to her on the phone all the time. She's 80 something. She may even be 90 next year, in the year 26. She's a wonderful, beautiful lady. And unfortunately, when she dies, I will go to her funeral. And that's the sort of relationship we have. This woman she wasn't talking to these people all the time. So she needs to find a reason to invite him over for lunch. So she has cancer. But I'm not really sure if she began, I have cancer, or just, I'm sick. So what do psychopaths have in common? They breathe air. It's not really that, but so this woman is into mushrooms and shit. I'm sorry, mushrooms. And I don't usually even talk like that. So there's a website, I don't remember what it's called. Something about plants and nature. It may even be nature.com or something. But she's actually active on the site. So I have an app on my phone. I don't know why I'm looking for my phone. That I can point it at a plant and it'll go, doesn't make that actual noise. And it'll tell me exactly what the plant is. So all of a sudden, this woman suddenly just gets into mushrooms. And she starts investigating. I believe the mushroom's called the death mushroom. I may be wrong. But they're growed everywhere, all over the world. They probably even grow in North Korea. I'm on a North Korea kick right now. Those people are desperate. I don't even want to tell you this, but some guy was walking on the road and he saw dried up vomit and he ate it. And I'm so sorry. I should put a note that around 6:50 you want to mute me for a second. But so she goes out and she finds these death mushrooms. Okay, so all this happens in around July. Well, the death mushrooms only harvest for a few months of the year. She is not Meghan Markle, where she can, I know some of you don't even want me to say her name, where she harvests everything year round. Just amazing. Corn doesn't come up until July or August, knee high by July. But in Santa Monica, it harvests in March or so. So my point is, she had to go find these death mushrooms in March or April. Well, this didn't happen until July. So March, April, May, June. 4 months. This very attractive woman has to sit on this and really think about it. I'm sure there's people, you remember the girl in Kentucky who killed her lawyer boyfriend? And then she's in the room singing Amazing Grace. That was a just instinct shot and killed. And that girl was crazy anyway. But I'm sure many murders just happen. Even if you hire a hitman, you go to the car and you get out of the car. And I know people have gotten out of the car, ran back and said, I've changed my mind. Forget it. This woman had 4 stinking months to think about it. And she had 2 little girls. So it's not as if she was sitting in her home all by herself, twiddling her thumbs. It was 2023. People weren't covering their face anymore. She was allowed to go out. She had other things to do. She was actually very active in the little plant world. She would go out and garden. She was on Facebook. Now, I am not on Facebook. But she had a Facebook where she was in gardening groups. And she was talked to people in those groups. Well, one other thing she did in those groups was she happened to mention how much she hated her mother and father-in-law. Well, the reason she hated them was because when all this tax stuff happened, she went to them and said, "Can you help me?" What? Why are you going to not legally, but your former in-laws and asking for help? For the most part, don't think you should ever involve your in-laws in marital issues. I think it's ungood. It's my new word of the day. So that's why she was ticked off. Okay. So I read 9 different places about this. I watched Megyn Kelly about this. There's a great Daily Mail true crime about this. And the guy's really cute. He sits in on a table, and he's got great eyes with a box. And he's like, this is my evidence box. So unfortunately, I'm kind of telling the story similar to him. But he doesn't make the jokes that I do. He's not as cute. And his kid's not going to Bishop O'Connell this fall. Football team, yay, yay. So, in March, what else does she do? She goes and buys a food hydrator. Okay, great. Do you have a food hydrator? I have an air fryer. And I think my air fryer also dehydrates food. And I would like to do that with apples one time. Because I have nothing but time these days. Yet I'm busy constantly. It really makes no sense. So when you touch these death mushrooms, because I looked online at a few pictures, and frankly, they really just look like normal mushrooms. You have to be wearing gloves. Do you know what's that stuff that used to be in the thermometers? Mercury? The very first death by mercury was a scientist. It was a female. She was wearing the little doctor gloves, and she dripped a drop on her glove. Oh, bummer. She followed safety protocol, wiped it right off, washed her hands, changed the gloves, and then about 6 months later, she started getting very ill with the symptoms that doctors could not diagnose. And I believe she was dead in 3 weeks. And it's a pretty painful death. You know, it's one of those pretty painful deaths. I'm not exactly sure how they traced it back to the mercury. But I guarantee, I mean, she was a high-level scientist, that when it happened, it was noted, hey, Jane Doe dropped mercury on herself. And they eventually were able to get back. So she buys this, and I assume she took regular mushrooms and tried it out, but she learned how to do this. Now, this luncheon that she had these people over did not occur until July. Remember, she picked the mushrooms around March. So she either took them home and froze them, or she took them home, dehydrated them, and then once they're in powder, they're fine. I'm going to say she probably froze them, because you don't want to take a chance. Well, I guess if this is your first murder, you're not having a lot of dehydrated foods around. So now, it's now 4 months later. She's so pent up about this. Another thing I thought about, she has money. So it's always stinks giving the government money. But it's not as if she's going to be broke. I mean, she's not going to have any problems. Do you know that income tax began in World War I, and the government told us, the people, that it was going to be temporary, just to get us through the war? And it ain't still World War I, is it? But, so now it's July. She's angry with the estranged husband. They're now getting legally divorced. They're arguing over child support. They're arguing over alimony. He wants alimony because she's worth so much. And before this single box, everything was fine. Sorry. So it's July, and she texts the estranged husband, the mother and father-in-law, which I understand why she has their phone numbers. But she texts them from a telephone. Well, we're going to find out a little later that this woman has multiple telephones, 5 or 6 phones, and she even switches the SIM card. I mean, does my phone have a SIM card? I remember the olden days, the olden days of cell phones, when we switched the SIM card around. I do kind of remember that. But this was 2023. What? How does she have knowledge like that? I didn't see that she had any former career or anything, that she didn't work at the Apple store. She could learn that. But so she texts everyone and says, I have some very important news about my health. It's severe. I don't think she says I have an acute illness at this point. But I don't have many opportunities left to have a luncheon. So I would like you all to come over for lunch, and I'm going to let you in and tell you everything that's going on with me. So they agree. And the mother-in-law asks if it's okay if she brings her sister and the sister's boyfriend, who is a pastor. And, of course, what does Erin say? The more the merrier. Well, the night before the lunch, the estranged husband texts her and says, hey, look, I've had something come up at work. I really can't do it. And she writes him back, and she's like, I need you to do this. You need to come over to my house for lunch. It's very important. This means a lot to me. It's my last chance. We have children together. I mean, for the most part, she kind of made him come, but she guilted him into it. So, okay, fine. He's going to come. So, she has 5 people coming over. She's going to make Beef Wellington. Have you ever had Beef Wellington? I made it one time. Who really wants a roast with a croissant wrapped around it? Now, I know it's pastry sheet. It was a pain in my neck. And I was 25 or 26 years old. I had a beautiful kitchen, lots of energy, had no children left. Yet. Had no children left. I had no children yet. And I wanted to unalive myself by the end of the night. It was that bad. I don't even remember it being that fantastic tasting. And then I've had it one other time since, and it was just okay. And I think partly that it was just okay was that I resented the whole thing. I resented that chef was able to make that stupid roast look gorgeous, and he wasn't out here crying somewhere. So it was in my head to kind of not like it's like, I'll have the boy, we're going to have a piece of broccoli. Well, he's already decided he doesn't like broccoli. So, and that's a whole nother nightmare. I eat vegetables every day. I even take Balance of Nature. And no, they are not sponsoring this video. If you want to throw me a few bucks, I'll have a buy my coffee. But I do take Balance of Nature every day. It's your vitamins. It's your fruits and your vegetables. Oh. Brain sack. It was over here. That's my excuse for everything right now. I wonder how long I'm going to be able to get away with that. So, she serves lunch. The mother-in-law's sister has brought a cake. So they all have cake. And they go home on their merry way. This is Friday. So around Saturday evening, everybody starts getting ill. Everyone at the lunch, save Erin. I mean, they're getting very ill. So before sunrise, Sunday morning, mother-in-law and father-in-law go to the hospital. And remember, these people live 2 hours outside of Melbourne. I didn't happen to check the size of their town. My parents lived in a town of 600, and they were a few miles from a town of 1,500, and that was the city. But then they were I'm sorry, my dogs are acting like idiots. They were 45 minutes from a town of 25,000 or so. I'm sorry, I don't know, but this town did have a hospital. Some of the people in the Australian network would refer to it as an urgent care, but I really don't know. They've referred to it as a hospital, more and more places. So they go to the hospital, and there's obviously only one hospital. By Sunday night, the sister-in-law and, no, brain sack. The mother-in-law's sister and boyfriend are also in the hospital. So the doctors figure out okay, this is obviously food poisoning. What do these people have in common? Oh, they all ate Beef Wellington. So the doctors absolutely know what's going on. It's food poisoning. Well, Monday morning, and they've told her, we had lunch at Erin Patterson's house. So they know all of this. Monday morning, Erin Patterson goes to the hospital. And one of the doctors overhears this and he's like, wait, what's going on? So he goes and he talks to her. And he says, where did you get these mushrooms? And she's like, Woolworth? Remember Woolworth? They had that little bar around. I remember Woolworths in the 70s. I have no idea if there are any in America right now. But they are still in Australia. So they call Woolworth and say, get all the mushrooms off the shelves. And they go back to talk to Erin, and she's disappeared. She has left the urgent care. She has told the woman at the front desk she's got to take care of her animals. They make her sign an AMA against medical advice to leave. So she leaves. And frankly, I'm not sure why the police are not involved at this point. Now, they believe it's innocent, that Erin received poisoned mushrooms. Well, the doctor at that hospital does call 911. This is Monday. And he says, I have a patient who may die. She's been exposed to a toxin. This is very important. So at that point, the police are involved. However, they don't go talk to Erin. They don't go to her house and detain her. Nothing. She shows up at the hospital again Wednesday. Where are the damn police? Hello? And this time they admit her. And she tells them, oh, I've been vomiting and I have diarrhea. But there's actually no evidence of that. Her blood work shows she's fine. However, they still admit her because they don't have any idea. They keep her overnight Wednesday. Thursday, she leaves. Okay, so now the stinking police are involved. They go and talk to her. You know what? There's like, could we look at your phones and stuff? And I'm not sure they're completely suspicious of her. But she asked the one policeman, well, I'm going to have to arrange for someone to get my daughter since you guys are here and I'm going to be busy. She said, I'm going to go to the other room and make a phone call. He's like, oh, cool, baby. So what does she do? She goes to the other room and erases her phones. Remember the one phone that she sent thing? Okay. Remember, I keep saying remember. Remember? This is July. The police start investigating everything. They arrest her in November. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the court case. Man, I sound a lot like that other dude. So here's her excuse. Before she's arrested in November, she talks to the media a couple times, and I think they should put a block over her face just so that you don't get sick looking at it. You know that woman, I think she's a singer, Lizzo? She's gigantic, and she wears bikinis that have this much fabric on it. Hello, I don't want to see that. And now she's on that drug, Ozempic, and her skin flaps. She's got a flap now at the top of her leg. Aren't I a nasty, nasty snot? Okay. She's in court, and one of the Australian networks, the woman is even standing, holding her head a little high, and she's like, and remember, I love the accent. I can't do it. Here in Australia, defendants have the right to stand up for themselves. I wasn't doing that intentionally. To stand up and speak for themselves or to remain silent. As if that's just some big whoop-de-doo. Every major something country, not domestic, but functioning country, the defendant has the right to be quiet. I'm sure in North Korea you don't. I have no idea about China. I'm going to look it up. So Erin, she's smarter than everyone. She's going to get on that stand. Okay, they've arrested her in November 2023. It's July 2025. So her trial took exactly 2 years. She's going to get on the stand. You want to hear her story? I have bulimia. And after they left, I ate all the rest of that cake. And I felt guilty about it. So I went to the bathroom and I threw it all up. And so that's why I didn't get as sick as everyone else, because I had vomited up the mushrooms. I guess if you're trying to save yourself from life in prison, it's okay to say you have bulimia. Do you think Princess Diana really had bulimia? The reason I ask is because I've heard your teeth get really messed up, and it happens very quickly. It's not, you're not bulimic for 9 months and then your teeth start getting, you know why? It's the acid from your stomach going back over your teeth. It's not meant for that. So if you know that, let me know. So the trial was 9 weeks long. I wish I would have paid. I think it was just 1 day verdict. Guilty. So all this time that she's been sitting in jail, she hasn't been sitting in jail. She's been sitting in a maximum security prison. I guarantee there are people that are grateful to be in that jail versus the prison. Now, I myself have never been in prison. Now, that may shock you. I understand that. But I looked a few things up. You have the right to have a job. I couldn't find out what the wages were if you make 19 cents an hour or stuff. Until you're 65. Once you're 65, you're not allowed to work. However, once you're a felon in Australia, you lose your right to your Social Security. The Social Security that you paid in for your whole stinking life, they take it away from you. They do not do that in America. I looked that up. They do provide sanitary napkins. All, not just the pads. Sorry, guys. Everything, that's free. And they do that in all American federal prisons and most state prisons. There are a few states, and I didn't continue to read, that do not. Virginia, the Commonwealth, does. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. Obviously, they have a commissary and stuff. So her sentencing is in a few weeks. She's either going to get life or life without parole. A couple things I didn't tell you guys. When you make a beef Wellington, it's one giant roast, and then you wrap your croissant around it, pastry sheets. She didn't do that. She served individual slices of beef Wellington. Her claim was Woolworth's, the only grocery store in town, oh, well, that actually helps her a little bit, was out of roast. The prosecutor can call Woolworths and say, I need to see your inventory on this day. What did you have? Woolworths knows exactly what they have. In Australia, you have a lawyer and a barrister. Your lawyer is the one that handles things, talks to the prosecutor, can work out a plea deal, hopefully. If that doesn't work out, your barrister is the one that represents you in court. And she was not receiving a free one because she had money. But, the Wellington, she also served him on different colored plates. Well, she served hers on a different colored plate. All the others on the same plate. The other night, my boy was annoyed with me. I'd made him do extra chores or something. The kid lives a pretty entitled life. So when I got down, he has to set the table every evening. When I got down, he and Dad had the same color placemat and napkins, but I had a different color placemat and a different color napkin. And when we got to the table, he's like, did you notice? And I was like, yes, I noticed. Why did you do that, you idiot? Kids are idiots. Oh, you know what that alarm was? To remind me to take my brain medicine. So I will. Okay, so we're going to find out in a few weeks. Tell me what you think. Should she get life or life without parole? I'm game for life. Absolutely. The estranged husband has full custody. He's also going to try to get lifetime support from her estate to raise those children's. Brain sack. And I 100% support that. Okay, if you're still watching right now, thank you. I'm shocked. Goodness. Bonjour. And toodaloo. Bye-bye.